we have this, or at least some of this. Hey y'all, APG Jamie here, and today brings us more Halloweenisms. So I wanted to make some buggy clusters. Y'all know I got my birthday bugs. You're not seeing in here, but there'll be some, okay? Not a lot. Anyway, clusters. That was what was on my brain. Clusters. I know, we all know how to do it. But sometimes it is so fun and interesting to watch other people put together clusters. I know, simple, but Take for instance this here doolally. That is one of my homegrown luffas. Now it's a few years old. They are a natural product, so they will get dry and brittle over time because it's like keeping a leaf, I guess, a leaf. Anyway, I thought let's use some of this loofah, so I cut it down into little bits. Not well, yeah, bite-sized bits, y'all. Oh, so we have the little wooden doolollies from the Dollar Tree. Oh, you know it. There is a list of ingredients in the description below the video. Look for that ... more to see more information. Okay. So we're going to start off by, I have really big plans to make a ton of clusters, evidently. Yeah. So we're painting them. I'm just using craft paints, y'all. I've got a purple and a black that looks totally black on my little editing screen, but in real life you can see the purples, and I thought, oh, like that, but I had so much paint out, duh. I thought, well, I better scrape that on some cardstock, because I must save every teensy tiny 1/100% of a penny's worth of craft paint, y'all. Frugal does it. So I kind of couldn't scrape it up anymore with my little key card, so I just got out a brush and some water, and I squished some little waters around on there and just smoosh it around. In here you could see a little bit of the purple, but not a lot. So we cleaned up, and now we've got our little ghosties. I know it looks white, but that is an extremely pale green. Extremely pale green. I used to have some glow-in-the-dark paint, and I probably say this every year since I can't find it. Can't find it. Might have got old, might have thrown it out. Maybe it's hidden somewhere. So we're doing some pumpkins, and I've got a dark orange, and then I will come back on top of that with a lighter, brighter orange, and it just adds a little bit of je ne sais quoi, je ne sais what. Anyway, so we're going to do the stems, and I found what I thought would be an appropriate brown for the pumpkin stems. And as it turned out, you couldn't hardly tell much difference between that brown and the natural wooden color. These were, like I said, they were from the Dollar Tree, and they had the little pop dot doolollies on the back, but I pulled all those off because I'm like, no, I don't think I want that. So anyway, I got pop dot. I should have kept those pop dots, me and my 100% of its 1 cent. Should have kept them. Anyways, I thought, well, that wasn't quite good enough, so I thought, well, let's put some green on it. So we got out a medium toned green, and we're just going to smoosh that around there, and they look really good in real life. And let me just spoil this right now. I think I don't use the bats. Do I use maybe I didn't use the pumpkins either. Maybe I just used the ghostesses. Let's watch and see. So I have some scraps from an earlier Halloweenisms project still on my desk, because my desk is a total wreck. My little screen part right there might be okay, but it's a wreck, y'all. So we're tearing it with the tearing ruler, and that is a cardstock, y'all. So I'm just making 5 little clusters. And this is some black tissue paper. It doesn't tear with my tear ruler so good. So I thought, well, we'll just rip that up by hand. Then I had these little, again, a prior project. And we just tore those in little bits. And I like the straight edges. And then I thought, well, no, I don't. I just am not feeling it. You know, those straight, excuse me, y'all. Those straight little strips there. I'm like, no, I'm just not. There's a bug. There's a bug for you. Some of that paper y'all saw in the thumbnail at the very beginning, I only used one because, you know, I'm so special. I get out lots of stuff and barely use any of it. It just, that's why your scraps grow. They just grow and grow and grow. So I am just using some art glitter glue to sort of stick down some of those layers. Now, you know what would have been fun? I just now thunk of if I'd have sewed them on the sewing machine. That would have been so fun. Anyway, there we go. And now we're going to put a black diamond on there. I got this sheet of black little rhinestones and some silvery white ones. And then I have that little sheet that's got bigger ones on there. And I thought, let's use the bigger ones. So we're going to use the bigger ones. I really wanted to put it under the bug towards the bottom of the little cluster thing. And then I thought, no, that looked like bug poop. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make it look like bug poop. So I didn't. We put it up higher, you know. Now, a clever person could turn these clusters into hidden paper clips or just regular paper clips, okay? Or they could just be glued on a journal page, or they could be tucked into a tuck spot or a pocket. Just saying, because, you know. And I didn't use any words. No words on any of this stuff. Here again is some prior project Halloweenisms, y'all. Cardstock. Painty cardstock. It was laying over there and I thought, let's use that because that is beautiful. Well, it's not necessarily beautiful as a whole, but, you know, in little square-ish, chunkish, it was fine. And I thought, well, the pumpkins totally disappeared on there. And then I didn't like the bats on there. And I thought, well, we'll just use the ghost. And then I saw this piece of fabric from one of them rag rugs, you know, that I had gotten for $5, like, I don't know, a year or two or 500 ago from the Five Below store. Anyway, just saying, because it was like $5. Five Below. And I had that, and I thought, well, we'll just cut that into little chunks. And then I decided my ghost eyes looked, I didn't like them, so I'm just taking some of that black tissue paper we still got on our desk. It's going to glue it behind their eyes and their mouth, and it's like perfect, y'all. Serendipitous. So here is some, that's hibiscus dyed book page, y'all. That is still hanging around. It's going to be hanging around a long time, I'm afraid. So we're just ripping that around in little sections, and I didn't read any of it to see if there were any no-no words on there. So there might be a no-no word. I don't know. I didn't read it. Didn't examine it. Then I have this purple shimmery plasticky thread stuff. Is from the Dollar Tree. And I'm not necessarily promoting the $1.25 tree. It's not $1.25. It's still called a Dollar Tree, but it's $1.25 now. This stuff is old, y'all. This was way back before they had their increase. And I have a I got tubs, not buckets. And you know, when you buy stuff on clearance after a holiday, you can get some pretty good stuff pretty cheap. Not necessarily the Dollar Tree, but some of the other stores. Anyways, so that's the little threads I'm using. And I'm taking it, wrapping around my fingers, and now I'm kind of twisting it up. And dear Julie recently showed me this trick. When I say recently, I mean like in September, I think it was, I saw her doing it. She just takes a little piece of the double-sided tape, wraps it around the little bunch of thread, you know, to kind of like hold them together. And then you can just stick it where you want to stick it and glue it down, and it stays without too much fighting about it. Dear Julie. great channel. Just saying. Shout out. So we're gluing on our ghosties. These are very minimalistic type clusters here, y'all. I really thought I was going to be using lots of layers on there, but no. Just few did me. Sometimes more is more. Sometimes more is not. Sometimes less is perfect. So I'm making these, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'm starting to get a little tired of making these clusters. So we went to that piece of cardstock. We accidentally made a piece of painty cardstock. Came in so handy. Oh, these, you know, them little party favor things? Dollar Tree. I know, it's just like a Dollar Tree commercial here. Anyway. There was spiders and skeleton heads. Y'all saw me use skeleton heads in a previous Halloweenisms. And there were some bats in there, but I already had the wooden bat, so I didn't take those out. Anyway, these are rings, and I'm just cutting off the ring part, you know, so that the spiders are just, you know, not on a ring anymore. That's all I did. Okay. Now, this is that Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous, I believe it is, bubbles stamp. And I know a lot of people's like, oh, I can just make my bubbles, you know, my own way with my own painty colors and whatever. But I sure like using it to emboss, heat emboss with, y'all. It's just, to me, oh, yes. And I finally got some red embossing powder. Well, I've had it for a little while, since Tanya McGuire was here back in the spring. Anyway. There's something white in there. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to get it out, and I'm fighting with it. I finally got a pretty red, y'all. This is a pretty red. I don't know. It's just red. Primary red, I think it's what it's called. And I'm using that because in my head, it's going to look sort of like blood. Halloweenisms, y'all. Think sort of semi-creepish. Semi-creepish. Oh, I don't like gross stuff. Anyway, I'm definitely do not like slasher movies, y'all. So we're gonna magic of heat gun, and it does pretty much disappear and look blackish, but when the light hits it just right, you can tell that it's definitely red, bloody red looking bubble stuff, y'all. So I do it all over that whole page. And I'm kind of piecing little bits here and there because, you know, that little part looks like, well, that just looks so square right there. But, you know, once I cut it up, because we're going to cut it up, it's not going to be clusters. Well, sort of not. No. Anyway, doing that, I just love watching embossing powder melt, y'all. That is just so cool with the heat gun, y'all. Anyway, gonna do some more. I know my clusters project turned into another add-on. It grew. That's what I said. Buggy clusters project that grew. That's what it's called, y'all. So we're doing that around. We're going to trim it up. And I think I make them like, I don't know, 2 3/4 wide-ish maybe. And I have this plastic key card that I've now trimmed off the edge because y'all know I like just that one side on these tags to be scooped up like that. And I'd already computer printed out a back of these because this is my Dear Card Lottery winner letter thingy. I just decided, well, I'm just going to stick it on the back of the tags because I can, y'all. And besides, it covered up ugly stuff on the back, you know, extra messy paint stuff, whatever. So I decided to round the one corner up there. The 2 bottom ones are rounded, and we're inking around it in black because it was important that you see me inking around this stuff. And I got some paper dolls. Y'all know I love my paper dolls. And I found some that were of similar size. They mostly all look the same because y'all know I'm not too original about stuff sometimes. And we're sticking on a piece of luffa that I thought I would use for the cluster, but I didn't use for a cluster, but we're kind of making a cluster on the tag. And I got these little bits of black lace project too. And we're putting that on there. And I have some window screening. I found some window screening, you know, little plastic screening, those little bits of it. We're going to use that. We're going to use it's kind of a red-orange. It's more orange than red, but it's red. Anyway, spiders. our rings. We're going to glue that on my favorite Aleene's Original Tacky Glue. Because, it's textured with that heat embossing on there. So we want to make sure it sticks good. And then we're just going to use some frabrifix. Y'all, I'm so impressed with how the frabrifix holds down these little plastic bits. I'm just throwing that out there because I was impressed with it. And we have a bit of off gray lace that was from that hibiscus dyeing thing too. It was like, oh, that's just perfect. So we're just kind of layering up little bits, and I'm squishing that around on the screen, and then we're going to put some on the back of the spider, underneath the belly of the spider, and then we're going to stick it on there, okay. And then we're gonna have to wait on it. Here it comes. Here comes our weight on it, okay. Okay, and then we're just going to do another, because I have the young boy in that cap, and then I have this older gentleman. We cut their legs off because we didn't need them. Okay, we did not need them. Actually, this gentleman had a dog, and I cut around the dog. But he lost his legs too. The man, not the dog. So anyway, squishing him on there. Frabrifix. We're going to add our luffa. I grew that, y'all. Came out of my yard. Well, I didn't grow it. I planted the seeds and watered them, and they growed all on their own. Anyways, bits of black lace. You can save that stuff, man. You don't know when little tiny things that's coming in. So we're putting that on there. I don't know how well that loofah is going to last, y'all. Is this stuff going to last 100 years? I doubt it. But, it'll last long enough for me. Because once I mail it out, it's not my problem anymore. So we put our spider on there. Now we're going to wait on it. Okay. And I think we poked some little hose. Oh, we decided to we poked some little hose with our cropper dial, but you didn't see that part. I thought I found it. I don't know. Must have lost it. And then we put some black fibers in there, and now we're stamping the back of our little clusters with our APG Jamie. Because, that's who I are. And like I said, these could be turned into paper clips if whoever gets it wants to do. They could do that, if they wants to do. So we're just going to show y'all. And in the photo montage, which will be coming up, you'll see that background does indeed look slightly bloody. So look at that. Oh, ta-da! Photo montage. See? Looks pretty coolio. So they're all essentially the same. We've got the one man, we've got the one boy. I've kind of rearranged the different tags around because, they're not exactly, but they're close enough to be the same. Okay? They have different bugs. So they made me happy. I sure enjoyed doing this little project, but man, I gotta clean all this stuff off my desk. It's another month coming, y'all. Thanks, month. Thanks for watching. And happy arting, y'all. Boo.